Welcome, everybody. It's your boy, the Versace Stoner, with another episode of VSW. Thank you. It's your boy, Versace Stoner, alongside with the same wolf here. Tonight, this evening, we have a very special guest calling in. You might have heard of him. You might have seen him on Limitless and in other various promotions. The suplex, master, in my opinion, Dylan Nix. He'll be calling in just a few moments and talk wrestling with us and see what's going on with him. We have some questions for him, I know that. How about you, Disabled?
I'm excited about him. He's been really impressive in the road and everything else. He has a very interesting resume from the Limitless promotions. He's an up-and-coming star. How about you, Versace?
Oh, yes, definitely. Since I first discovered him last year, early on in the pandemic, I started to follow him on social media, and I started to watch his matches, and he did some work in the dojo for Limitless, and just some really, great wrestling. There's no way else to put it. And I love great wrestling. He's, like I said, a suplex master. It's an old school move, but, it's one of the most important moves in wrestling. He's kind of, I think, fallen a little under the wing of Alexander Lee.
He's been very impressive with training all the dojo students up in Maine.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. I think he's a tremendous trainer. Not just, a wrestler. We see him on the road, too. And, like I said, wherever he's going, Dylan, he's putting on a show for us. He's getting better and better every time we see him. So it's very exciting to have him call in today and talk with us. And, tonight is going to be, the road. I don't know if you saw our earlier episode preview of it, but it was released earlier today. And, the main event of that, tonight's episode, following this interview is going to be really, really good. You got Ace Romero versus Alec Price.
Both have 6 wins respectively on the road.
So, and both are going places. We saw Ace on AEW,
At the first ever match for the Double or Nothing in the Casino Battle Royale.
Exactly. And, Alec Price, another breakout star at any moment. It's going to be tremendous. Like I said, after this interview, it should be around the time to tune into IWTV and watch Limitless The Road Series Season 3, Episode 10. And like I said, there's all a great card up. That's, just the main event. A lot of other matches to take place. That's one thing I like about Limitless. Every week has been exciting.
I think the weekly content, pandemic or not, has been really great for the brand of Limitless. Because once they have live shows again, Versace, we'll all know who these wrestlers and characters are and have more understanding of all their new movesets, including upcoming Dylan Nix.
Exactly. I'm very excited to get back to shows to see these people live, I've, seen so much of them on the road. I've seen so much of them, on other shows and different things. Now I'm, just eager to see them, wrestle in the ring, in front of our faces, and then hopefully get to meet them after the show, So we're very excited for that. As wrestling is starting to make its return a little bit here in New England. Some shows coming up we're going to ourselves.
Yes, including next Thursday night, the return of Beyond's second show since in the White Eagle with Denver, Colorado in the game. Up and coming, and you'll see the IWTV Championship being defended in the main event.
Oh, with Lee Moriarty.
Defend against Wheeler Yuta.
Wow, that's going to be one hell of a matchup. Very excited for that. Really am. Like I said, loving that indie wrestling is coming back. It's really, like I said, it's been a long time for fans. And, I can't wait till the day Limitless comes back, NCW comes back, the other promotions come back with fans. So I can be there live to experience that as well. And, yeah, here we go. Hello?
Hey, what's up, man?
How's it going, Dylan Nix?
Hey.
What's up?
Oh, not a lot. Just, calm before the storm and all that stuff.
Oh, yeah. I hear you. So, we're very excited to have you on our podcast.
Hey, man. Pleasure to be here.
Big indie wrestling fans here. We got a few questions for you and a few things, we'd like to listen to you, listen from you about. One thing, I want to know is I never really asked, I've had interactions with you on social media, of course, but I never really asked, when did you really get into wrestling and, how so?
Oh, my God. I've actually had this question before. It's actually a fun one because I've been a wrestling fan since I was a kid. I mean, I'm talking 4 or 5 years old. Like, my Saturday mornings were literally Saturday morning cartoons and then WWF Superstars. And since I can remember, I've watched wrestling. I even asked my mom once. I was curious. I was like, when did I start? She's like, I don't remember a time you weren't watching wrestling. So it's always been one of those things in my life.
It's funny, my mom said the same thing, but I started during the Attitude Era, so...
For me, myself, I remember, I started watching wrestling, I think around WrestleMania 2 or 3, a long time ago. But, yeah, I do remember those Saturday mornings. Nothing like it.
Oh, no, definitely not. No, it's funny because I was talking to a buddy of mine about this, and I'm like, my first real big wrestling memory that stuck and that, I always remember. A lot of people are like, oh, Hogan, Andre at WrestleMania 3 or, stuff like that. My big one, weirdly enough, is Jake Snake Roberts having his Cobra bite Macho Man Randy Savage because I remember freaking out about it. And go to my mom and be like, look, what's happening? And she's like, oh, don't worry, it's all fake. Come to find out years later, the snake actually bit Macho Man, but, that's a different story.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. The funny story is, I've watched actually a documentary, and then they actually, they devenomized him, of course, but they did actually have him bite, which I don't think that definitely wouldn't fly in today's wrestling world.
No, definitely not, man. Not with some of the stuff going on. People would be like, wait, what's happening now?
The times definitely have changed since then, and wrestling has evolved. Some stuff for the better, some stuff, in my opinion, for the worse. But overall, it's progressed very nicely into what we see today.
Speaking of, my question for you is, speaking of progression, how do you feel about the Limitless TV series of The Road, and how do you think it will impact the future of Maine?
Oh, man. The good thing about The Road, the biggest thing I can say about The Road is it's given, during the pandemic, it's given a lot of people opportunities to continue doing their craft. We saw when the pandemic hit, a lot of wrestling companies just shut down, or they had nowhere to go to do anything because we can't go to these venues to do anything because of the restrictions of COVID. So the wonderful thing that Randy has done with The Road is given a lot of us this opportunity to continue to hone our craft and be able to go out there and be able to entertain. And yes, while there's not any fans in attendance, which we'd love to have, we still get to go out there and entertain, and you guys get to watch it on TV every week.
Oh, yes, definitely. I mean, I remember when they did, when I heard them announcing Pandemic in the Dojo, I believe that was the first, weekly, besides whatever WWE and AEW were doing, weekly episode of independent wrestling that was being aired. And I was so excited because that means that, all you guys get to actually go to work.
Yeah, definitely.
To go and do something. I mean, now, a year later, things are starting to open back up. You got other, promotions running shows. NCW is doing a weekly show, which is coming out great.
Yeah, and actually, I got an opportunity actually not long ago through, believe it or not, Alexander Lee. He grabbed me and said, "Yeah, you're coming to NCW with me." And I went, "Wait, what?" And I get to debut down there with them too. So another great company to work for.
That's great. We're huge NCW fans. And
Alexander Lee just picked up a big victory in their latest pay-per-view too, so you got that momentum riding on your trip.
Yeah, good CPB. Yeah, that was a heck of a match.
Yeah, and it's good seeing, like I said, you see these guys in cross promotions. It's always good to see because sometimes you get a different side of somebody, or you get to see a little bit different, flair to them that you don't see in one promotion over another.
Yeah, I mean, because we see Alexander Lee in Maine and in Limitless and on the road, and he is someone. We'll say it that way. Say it nicely. He's had his ups and downs, and he's definitely someone not to be trifled with. But then we see him go down to NCW, and we get to see a little bit different personality on him, and it's really kind of neat, honestly.
Yeah, definitely. It really is, and that's kind of the beauty of the independent scene here in New England is it's kind of a close knit society where everybody does kind of work together to elevate each other. You don't really have the competition of promotions trying to down another promotion.
Yeah, I mean that would be honestly just silly because I mean, especially in indie wrestling. You should be working together a little bit. Not really, you don't have to tag up and actually work together, but I mean, there's no point in trying to take someone else out. It's kind of asinine.
No, especially when the talent pool is, you got one talent pool to work from, everybody got to make it work. And of course, everybody wants, sometimes the same guys, they can all make it work together.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean,
you also got... If everyone was just exclusive to one company that isn't mainstream, how are you going to get better? Because you would get a lot of ring rust as well.
Yeah, if you work with the same people over and over again, you'll get used to their style, and you can work a match with them, and that's great. But you're going to end up becoming stagnant. One of the things. So when I went to NCW, actually, fun fact, Danger Kid grabbed me before I left, and he looked at me. He's like, "Hey, you're going to work someone new. You're not going to work anyone you already know." And I'm like, "Okay." He's like, "No, I want you to work someone new." So I ended up working ZPV, who I'd never worked before. And I ended up working with Shady Shay and Davey Cash,
nice.
Who I'd never worked before. And I had a great time. I got my butt kicked, but I had a great time.
Yeah, the people at NCW are really great. It's just, it's like if you've heard our Aishana interview, she's worked out in there too. It really is like a family atmosphere, not just for the fans as when we walk in there, but for the wrestlers too.
Yeah.
I heard John Howard doing great things out of the NCW for people. And again, another great opportunity for fans at home to be able to watch, a weekly episode of, indie wrestling that, we normally wouldn't get to see right now because there's no fans still allowed.
I mean, luckily, we're getting lucky here in Maine, because I'm obviously up in Maine, is we're starting to get restrictions lifted just a little bit. So, while we still have, the road series, Limitless is actually now doing student showcases. So we're getting to the point where we can allow 75 fans in the building. And it's really nice because it's really nice to get that fan interaction again. So I can't wait for this to all be over so we can actually get like hundreds of people in the building again and have, have a blast.
Definitely. We had tickets right before this all got shut down for the we were so excited for that main event of Chris Statlander versus Anthony Green for the title.
Yeah.
We had it. We were in it. Then we heard the restrictions. We were still good for a little bit. We were still in that clear, and then they just called it, and we were like, "Oh man."
Yeah, we have that poster actually hanging in the dojo, and Randy calls it the show that never happened because it's literally like we have all the posters for all the Limitless shows in the dojo, and they're all in chronological order, and that's just the one sitting there that he'll look at occasionally and be like, "Man."
Hey, but now it would be a super matchup, AEW versus WWE if it was to happen.
Yeah.
All eyes would surely be on Limitless right now.
Oh, heck yeah. I mean, I was talking to a buddy of mine at work the other night, and come to find out he's a wrestling fan. I never knew that. So we started talking wrestling. And I was like, yeah, do you know the guy on NXT, August Gray? He's like, yeah, he's pretty good. And I'm like, yeah, he's a former world champ for us. And then I talked about Chris and talked about, Christian Casanova and MJF. And I'm like, yeah, all these guys worked for us at some point.
Yeah, that curse of the Limitless World Champion is something else, starting with MJF and just working down the line for everybody. Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, curse in air quotations. I'd love to have that type of curse.
Exactly. Right now Garcia holding it strong, really making, it prestigious and putting, some really great defenses behind it.
Oh, man, Daniel Garcia is just way too good.
I love his submission style of MMA, too, to bring in the ring.
Yeah, and that's what I think. That's what I really do like about Limitless too. Is you get different flavors of ice cream, basically. Like you may get a high flying style with we had Robert Martyr on, who's a high flyer submission specialist, or you get Lee Moriarty, who's one of the best technical wrestlers on the planet. You get Daniel Garcia, who's got this great technical submission style. So it's always fun to watch a show because you never know what you're going to get.
Yeah, and I do like, it's very diverse and, with the talent in the roster. And even just right now in New England, we do have various styles of, great, like you said, great variations of, you got high flyers, technical submissionists, all these different types. And speaking of different types, someone else I wanted to, bring up, I don't know if you've worked with him personally, but he's broken out kind of on the scene this year, and that's Love Dog.
I have not actually worked with Love Dog in a ring. I've worked on shows with Doug plenty of times, and what was funny is when he first came up, everyone was booing him. They're like, "Oh, boo!" And I'm like, I from day one I saw him, and I'm like, he's way too entertaining to boo. So I've always liked him, and you still got to boo the guy because you're supposed to be the bad guy.
Yeah,
but you still watch him, and he's so entertaining.
And somehow I just believe, from that bad guy, just everybody fell for this guy, and he just became one of the most charismatic superstars to break out on the road.
He's very charismatic for a Gilbert or James Ellsworth type of gimmick.
Yeah, and it's so fun because Doug himself is one of the nicest guys. And it's fun to watch that translate across as that character, as Love Doug, because it's so fun. There's a great, I'm not letting in anything big, but there's a great, a later episode of MTW, Angel Sinclair and Savannah, I can't think of Savannah's last name right now. FAFO, come out. And they're like, "You love us," and Doug is standing right next to me. He's like, "No, we don't." I'm like, "See, I've got the expert."
That's great. That's great. And he's another star that I'm so happy to see at NCW, show up on there as well. And like I said, it's just great seeing all the talent kind of get to work around where they can. It's giving everybody, more exposure, which is, in my opinion, the only difference between what you all do and what people do on TV is just the exposure and, who watched you and who wants to, invest in you.
Yeah, definitely. It's kind of crazy sometimes. I didn't realize this, but I had a match at the First Student Showcase with Jesse Nolan. And I went back and Randy put it up on YouTube, and I'm like, "Oh, cool, it's up on YouTube. Okay." I 100% say it's not one of my best matches. I was super nervous. She was super nervous, and we went out there and did our best, but it wasn't up to our standards. I went and looked on YouTube the other day. He's got 70,000 likes. I was like, wait, what?
Wow.
I was like, what is this? So,
you never know what the fans are gonna enjoy.
I know. It was crazy. I was like, okay, thanks.
I'm kind of mini trending right now. This is good.
My question for you, Dylan, is what wrestler do you think fans have compared you to?
Okay. So the one I get jokingly a lot, especially since back in the heyday, we were very similar, is Taz.
Yes.
So growing up, Taz was one of my favorites. He actually absolutely was. He was a very technical brawling suplex. That's exactly what he did, and that's kind of like what I do. And I absolutely love that. I get every now and then I get a couple of the older wrestlers. Randy was like the way I used to be built. I've lost some weight, but he's like, you remind me kind of like Dr. Death when he was young, and I'm like, I wish I was that good.
I can definitely see the Taz. You got a mean suplex yourself. I've been actually wearing your shirt all day.
I also see some Albert too.
I get that occasionally, yeah.
Yeah, a little bit. I could definitely see that.
Not quite that tall. I wish I was,
but we all wish we were as tall as Chaz Cashew, the giant that he's become.
Well, I know he's like 7.5 feet tall.
He's almost as tall as I think Great Khali, which is really impressive.
I know.
He's for being that agile that he is. That's a feat in itself.
Yeah, the guy that size, that agile, that is crazy.
So let me ask you, where do you see yourself going in the next year with professional wrestling as it starts to open up with fans, as it starts to more shows, more opportunities?
Yeah. So it's not a big secret that I'm not as young as a lot of the guys starting out. I've never hid that secret. So I'm hoping in the next year or so just to continue doing what I'm doing. Go out there, debut for new companies, learn, try to go out there and give the best match I can give. Some matches I go out and I'm completely disappointed at the end because of my performance, not because of anything else. And some I go out there and I'm like, cool, we had a great match. And I just want to be able to debut and open up more doors. I know I've got a limited window on my opportunities, so I want to try to make the most of it.
And let me ask you, what would you recommend for someone like, I'm an older myself. I've been looking into possibly going to a wrestling school, for a little bit to learn just the ropes. I would love to do a match one day, even if I just get my ass kicked. It would just be fun, just as a fan and just, something that I wanted to always do. I've scouted out at the dojo up in Maine. I've talked to them out there. I mean, what would you recommend for somebody? I'm older as well. Would you recommend me trying to go for it?
If you want to go for it, here's the biggest thing I'm going to say is give it 100%. We've got some guys that come into the dojo and they use it as their weekly workout, and that's fine. If you want to come in and have fun with it, absolutely fine. But if you want to actually make a match out of it and try to get up to actually having matches and stuff, give it as much as you can. I can't be at the dojo as much as I want to be. I actually have, we all have real lives. So I wish wrestling was my real life. It is my other job, as I call it. But so I just say give it 110% and go out there and just have fun with it.
But it's definitely not impossible to do.
Oh no, not at all. No, I started at late my 30s, and everyone kind of goes, "Oh, you're like our DDP," and I'm like, "Cool, yeah, sure." So I know that story, and no, it's not impossible to do. You just gotta go for it, basically.
Very good.
I've always said, if you got a dream, chase it.
Absolutely. Speaking of chasing a dream, one of my biggest dreams is that I joined forces with Versace. As I'm a big, not only wrestling fan, but a Boston sports fan. And part of my goal is that I want to get people who watch sports to get wrestling another chance. And do you think Limitless is a great way to introduce people who are laughs fans that we have so much in the country to get into wrestling.
Yes, absolutely. And because, like I said a little bit ago, because we have... So, if you watch WWE, because a lot of those guys get trained at the Performance Center, have a very similar style. You'll get guys come out like KO, like Sami Zayn, like the indie guys that got big, that have kind of a different style, but a lot of the homegrown talent kind of all wrestle the same. I think that's what's great about Limitless, like I said, is because we have all different flavors. You know, you may come out and be like, well, I don't care for, you know, I'm not disparaging the guy at all, but like, I don't care for Daniel Garcia's style, but I really like JD Drake. Or, you know, hey, I'm not a big fan of the main event, but man, MSP kick ass, you know? So you can kind of get people to pick up on different things because they'll connect with someone and be like, I really like those guys. Then they're going to start looking at more of their matches and start looking at more of the guys that work somewhat that style.
So you got a lot of people that come in, even though you you do obviously have, you know, your own training facility.
Yeah.
You have also a lot of people that have come, you know, like for instance, BRG, he was trained by like Matt Taven and Mike Bennett. He's coming in. Yeah. He has his own flair, style of wrestling, of course, from what he's been trained. You got other wrestlers like, you know, Anthony Green that came in trained by Spike Dudley. He's bringing his own flair into it. So you do got like a really vast pool of knowledge as far as, you know, training, wrestling in different styles and abilities.
Yeah, definitely. One of the cool things, like, even us at the dojo, like, yes, we have 5 different trainers. 6 before the pandemic, but 5 now. And it's kind of funny because if you watch all the students, none of us wrestle the same. I wrestle different from Dave. Dave wrestles different from Jess. Jess wrestles different from the Drifters. You know, so you watch all of our styles, and we all kind of built our own style taken off of like our trainers. You know, so I like that aspect that we're giving. Even us coming up, we're going to have different styles if we eventually get to Limitless, which I hope we all do.
So as indie stars and as, you know, wrestlers, you seem to have some sort of freedom as far as, you know, what you can what kind of style you want to go towards. They kind of embrace the differences. Yeah, like I joked about this a lot. I've trained with Alexander Lee more than anyone else. It's just the way my schedule worked out for the longest time. It was always Alexander Lee training there. So my style's kind of emulated his a little bit, where we're kind of like a brawling technical thing, and then I throw you. Yeah.
But so you kind of pick up your styles from your trainers, and then you just add your own flair to it. And like a very infamous podcaster once said, just don't do stuff you can't do.
That sounds great, you know. That sounds really cool.
Yeah.
And, you know, like I said, I am going to, you know, when things start to open back up, I do want to give it a shot and see if I can. I myself used to be an amateur boxer, so, I mean, I have some kind of fighting experience and some kind of definitely training experience as far as, you know, what it takes to train for something and something that would be heavy extensively on the body.
Speaking of, I'm also interested in being kind of like a manager for wrestling and learn how to take bumps, because when I was in high school, I used to be a manager for the football, basketball, baseball, and PA for the hockey games. So I know wrestling's a lot different, but I'd want to be able to be charismatic, and I'd want to bring my goofiness to the ring, too.
I mean, that's always a good thing. I love managers, honestly. I don't think there's a lot of them, and there's a few. Like, NCW's got a couple. Limitless doesn't have a whole lot, but it's just how it is. You know, like, I grew up watching guys like Bobby the Brain Heenan and, like, you know, Jimmy Hart and guys like that.
Yeah, and definitely a lost art since the days of, like, I can remember, I could name, like, 5 managers in the past, like, you know, you got Fuji, Bobby the Brain, you had, even going back farther, The Wizard, Classy Freddie Blassie. You had these great managers that were coming. Even Jim Cornette at one time was a decent manager for Yokozuna and, you know, the Heavenly Bodies and stuff. It's definitely, I feel like, you know, a lost art that's been lost in wrestling today. There is, you know, like you said, there is a few faces out there. You got, like, Chad Epic and a few other people, but it's not what it definitely was before.
No, and like you said, it is definitely a lost art, and I think a manager can add so much to a match because, I mean, especially heel managers, you're looking at stuff like, the old choke on the ropes, or Bobby Heenan had the best one where someone would be laying on the ropes, he would choke, you'd walk by, just open it and slap him, and just keep walking. And it's like, just little things like that can add so much heat to a match, and it's like crazy. That's just a lost art form now.
It can, and I can say that someone that does it really well right now, to bring it to today's wrestling, whenever I see Armani Kaios and, Paris is great at doing that when no one's looking. A quick choke, a quick, quick nudge, just something, a quick dig to the opponent when no one's looking. And it reminds me of those days of when you saw that. Yeah,
definitely. It's like, they are really good as a tandem too. And I can't talk today. They're really fun to watch. It's fun how well they've gelled. And, they're a really joy to have in any card you can get them on.
Definitely. I saw them I saw all these people, I went to the first NCW show of 2020, and there was a women's brawl, the Ballroom Blitz. And, I saw people for the first time that have now just, blown up in the indie world. I saw, at the time, was Basic Becca, Paris Van Dale, all these people. And now, I was great when I saw them all again on TV because, when wrestling shut down, I'm like, oh, wow, they gave us all these new faces, and now I have to, there's nothing new. And then, now I'm seeing them all again and again and again, and it's been just, a wonderful thing being able to see everybody do their thing.
Yeah, definitely. And like you said, because New England wrestling it's not a giant talent pool. It's, but it's not tiny either. But we get to pick and have a lot of those people on different cards. Where we may have Becca on the road on Wednesday, but on Thursday she's going to be down at NCW. So it's really fun to have those guys show up because they are really super talented, and it's always really fun to watch them.
Definitely.
Absolutely. With the up-and-coming talent, how soon do you think Limitless will have fans at least 50% capacity, if you had to guess?
If I had to guess, with the way everything's opening up, I'm going to say probably the latest is end of summer.
Very nice, very nice. I mean, we're here in Mass.
Don't quote me on that one.
No, I'm not. I mean, I've been hearing to be honest, I've been hearing the same thing out here in Mass. I mean, we're having some shows beyond, like I said, is running shows and other people, New England Pro.
And the wrestling venues, which would be the big ones, Gillette, Garden, Fenway, got announced that they extend from 12% to 25%, and the governor gave us a goal by August 1st is to have everything open up with the way everything's panning out and the virus is fading. Hopefully we can keep that up.
Yeah, I saw that Maine's got, I think Maine's going to try to start doing that too pretty soon, honestly. So I'm hoping everything gets back to normal here within the next year. It'd be really nice.
Yeah, that would be. I mean, it's been hard on everybody, not just in the wrestling world, obviously, just, all throughout the world. Just, it's been a lot of pain and suffering over the last year with this whole pandemic.
Well, one of the worst things, too, is when the pandemic started, I thought it was going to be a scare like SARS was, where it was a bad thing, but it was kind of really, really localized. And with SARS, it was kind of like hey, it's happening, but don't worry too much about it because it's nothing big. But to have it I even looked at Randy. I'm like, oh, this will be gone in 2 months. We won't have to worry about this. Oh, how wrong I was.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I figured it was similar, to an Ebola outbreak. You're right. It's serious. It's happening. It's going to fade out. We don't really have to worry if we're safe. Don't travel. Just, stay in your part of the world. But, yeah, it spread really quickly. And like I said, we went to one show one day. We were supposed to go to the show the next day, and the whole world was shut down that morning.
Yeah. I mean, it happened to us, too, because we had a Limitless show. It was actually on my birthday, because the day flipped over to my birthday as we were breaking down. So it was February 22nd to the 23rd. And we just got done a Limitless show, and we're like, cool, all right. And, we started hearing rumblings about this. And we had a Let's show at the end of the week. By the end of the week, this thing was shut down. And Randy was like, whoa.
Yeah, it went fast. It really did. It really did. All throughout, New England just was like, okay, everybody's out.
Yeah, it's like
And for good reason. I'm glad everybody did. I mean, if you don't want to be the one promotion to be running too long and, everybody getting sick, or you don't want to be that one person to be held responsible. Everybody's been pretty responsible, I think, during this as far as being safe. The shows I've been to have been, very safely ran.
And honestly,
we've had some...
you guys can keep up the road, because that's great to give every new talent a chance to shine. For when shows do come back, say it's 2 months, people will be all geared up and hyped to know new talent without actually seeing them in person.
Yeah, it's kind of really weird, actually, because I've had people come up to me and like I went down to NCW and I've been to a couple other places, and it's really weird that I'll walk out and fans know who I am. So I'm just, I hadn't really had that exposure before the pandemic, but I'll go out, my music hits, people are like, hey, and I'm like, oh, this is cool.
Yeah, I mean, and it's been like I said, that's great, that's awesome, because I don't think it's been a great way to get the exposure with everybody at home with nothing much to do, and with these shows running, people have time to actually watch the matches. People actually have time to watch the shows. They get to know the people. So in a way, it's been beneficial for that. I can definitely say that, and Randy's been doing a great job capitalizing all of it. Really bringing wrestling, back in a sense for us fans, because, in my opinion, he was the first one to do the weekly shows. He was the first one to, allow us to, watch wrestlers wrestle in this pandemic. And I think from there it just spiraled. A lot of other promotions started to get wind, and, they banded together and to try to get something going on their end, and it just kind of grew into what we got today.
Oh, definitely. The cool thing about Randy, too, is his COVID protocols. A lot of companies picked up exactly how he's doing them, and that's why a lot of things have gotten a lot better. And I can't thank that man enough for what he's done, and be like, okay, this is how we're doing things. We're being super safe about it, and that's it. There's no gray area. It's this or nothing. And it's, so it's made it so we can do what we're doing, and, so we can entertain you guys.
And we love it,
And I've loved to see all the new talent and everything.
Oh, yeah.
And all the showcase of matches and the promos in between all the matches, pay-per-view or weekly shows. That's amazing. It's easy for a newcomer to the indie scene like me a few years ago to get into it, even if you don't know any of the faces.
Yeah, no, it's it does give, I think, the aspect of the road, especially, or the Limitless shows, is you may have heard of Kevin Blackwood, but then you get to see him display a lot of his talents, not only in the ring, but he's got mic time, and it's really fun to watch these interviews between matches. Or you could see Ava Everett, who apparently knows Black Magic, because I don't remember that segment, do her thing, and she's developed a lot since I've met her. I remember I met Ava when she was one of the Platinum Honeys.
Oh yeah, that's way back then.
Yeah, and now she's Agatha, I guess.
Yeah,
Agatha all along.
She's been doing wonders in the indie scene since then, and just all over the place. She had that whole Ava Taker thing for a while.
Yeah.
She has some mean moves, and just an overall really nice person.
Oh yeah.
But she's portraying someone that possibly has some mental issues with her new character, and it's going pretty well.
Oh yeah, that Davey split definitely, showed her raw side, I think.
Yeah. So watching that back, I really thought Davey was going to punch me. By the way, I was like, oh, I'm about to get punched right here. Oh, he didn't get awesome.
Just be like, it's coming. I'll prepare for it.
I really expected it.
I don't know. I don't think I would want to take a punch from Davey. I don't know.
No.
She seems to it'd be a one and done situation for me.
Punch, German suplex, neither of those things.
Yeah, it could all be one combo too, which is even scarier.
Knowing Davey, absolutely.
She's another great talent we appreciate here at VSW. But I want to say
with her.
Ben,
Okay, sorry guys.
I was gonna say is we're just about out of time here on our podcast. It's been a pleasure, Dylan, talking to you. We look forward to seeing your matches.
Thank you so much, Dylan.
Oh, not a problem, guys. I enjoyed the heck out of it.
great. And, you know, maybe we'll have you back soon after, you know, these seasons wrap up and we see more of the matches and everybody can kind of, you know, reach back out and say, you know, how was it? You know, because obviously we can't talk about the matches. We don't want to spoil it for any of the fans at home that haven't seen any of it, but definitely love to have that happen. So,
I definitely have one more coming up this season, so
we'll be looking out for that. Thank you very much and have a great evening, Dylan.
Yeah, you too, guys. Thanks for having me.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Well, what a great interview, folks.
That was awesome.
That was the man, Dylan Nix, you know, talking to us about the indie scene, the New England wrestling scene, and just all the greatness that's coming out and everything. I thank you all for listening to this episode.
Thank you all for the Dylan Nix interview, and Disable signing out.
And you know what time it is, you know, tune into IWTV. It's just about time to watch Limitless The Road, Season 3, Episode 10. Have a great night, everyone. Versace Stoner out.